In Hollywood's glittering world, Paul Newman was an undeniable icon, but even a legend like him had his rocky relationships. Are you curious to know which three directors Paul Newman reportedly disliked the most? Let's find out. Paul Newman's childhood and the start of his career. Born on January 26, 1925, in Shaker Heights, Ohio, Paul Leonard Newman was the son of Arthur Sigmund Newman, a Jewish man who ran a sporting goods store, and Teresa Fetsko, a Slovak Roman Catholic. The Newman family was well off, and Paul grew up in a relatively comfortable environment. However, his childhood wasn't entirely smooth. Newman later revealed a complex relationship with his father, a strict and sometimes difficult man who deeply affected him. It was his mother who sparked Newman's passion for the arts, frequently taking him to plays and encouraging him to participate in amateur productions from a young age. After graduating from high school in 1943, Newman enlisted and served in the U.S. Navy during World War II as a radio man. He was initially trained to be a pilot, but a minor eye defect prevented him from pursuing that path. His experience in the military refined Newman's character, helping him mature and become more disciplined. When the war ended, Newman attended Kenyon College, where he continued to act in school plays. Afterward, he received a scholarship to the prestigious Yale School of Drama. However, tragedy struck when his father passed away suddenly in 1950. Newman decided to leave Yale to return home and manage the family business for a short period before realizing his true passion remained the stage. Early acting career and breakthrough. Determined to pursue acting, Newman moved to New York in the early 1950s. He studied at the Actors Studio, where he honed his craft under the guidance of legendary teachers like Lee Strasberg, alongside contemporaries such as James Dean and Marlon Brando. The method acting technique taught at the Actors Studio shaped Newman's distinctive style, authentic, internalized, and deeply emotional. Newman's career on Broadway began to take off with the play Picnic in 1953, where he made a strong impression on critics and audiences alike. This role opened the door for him to Hollywood. Initially, his film path wasn't smooth. His first leading role, in the movie The Silver Chalice, 1954, was a spectacular failure that Newman later even humorously apologized for publicly. However, Newman quickly regained his footing. His role as boxer Rocky Graziano in Somebody Up There Likes Me, 1956, solidified his position as a rising star. But it wasn't until 1958, with two classic films, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, starring alongside Elizabeth Taylor, and The Long, Hot Summer, his first movie with his future wife, Joanne Woodward, that Paul Newman truly became a major name, an icon of masculinity, charisma, and exceptional talent on the big screen. From here, his career soared with a string of unforgettable roles, making him one of the greatest and most beloved actors of all time. Paul Newman's views on filmmaking. With a brilliant career spanning over half a century, Paul Newman was not just a talented actor, but also a principled filmmaker and a man of great character. His views on art, and especially the role of the director, were shaped by his rigorous training at the Actors Studio, where authenticity and inner depth were paramount. Newman believed that acting was more than just reciting a script. It was a process of exploring and expressing a character's psychological depth as honestly as possible. To achieve this, he needed a collaborative environment where actors were respected and given creative space. Paul Newman was always known for his dedication and professionalism on set. He prepared meticulously, always researching to fully understand his character and the script. For him, the ideal director wasn't someone who imposed everything, but rather a collaborator, a visionary guide who knew how to draw out an actor's potential and create a safe working environment that encouraged experimentation. Newman valued directors who listened, communicated clearly, and most importantly, respected the actor's creative process. He detested superficiality, lack of professionalism, and especially those who didn't trust an actor's abilities, treating them merely as puppets to control. It is precisely because of these deep convictions and clear working principles that Paul Newman's public expressions of dissatisfaction with certain directors became so notable. Newman wasn't one to complain often or cause scandals. He was known for his calm demeanor, his honest and straightforward nature, but he never attacked others without cause. Therefore, when he used strong language to speak about negative experiences with a particular director, it indicated the severity of the issue, or at least a stark difference in working methods that he found unacceptable. When Newman disliked a director, it often wasn't personal animosity in the literal sense, but rather an incompatibility in artistic vision, leadership style, or even disappointment in the other party's competence or professional ethics. His comments usually stemmed from a desire for a high-quality filmmaking environment, where everyone worked together towards the common goal of creating excellent art. These insights not only reveal a lesser-known aspect of Newman's personality, but also provide a deep look into the underlying conflicts and pressures within the film industry of that era, where power and vision could clash intensely. The first director. Most directors had nothing but good things to say about Paul Newman. As a method actor deeply committed to his craft, he sometimes pushed his colleagues for multiple takes to fully explore his characters. Yet, for the most part, he was considered easy to work with. In fact, he earned the respect of two of Hollywood's most demanding directors. John Huston greatly admired him, which was a rare feat, and Elia Kazan, the pioneering filmmaker who helped shape Marlon Brando, admired Newman as a director, even suggesting he might be more talented behind the camera than in front of it. However, there were two screen legends he didn't get along with. The first was Orson Welles. That's right, the man who gave us Citizen Kane and is often cited as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, filmmakers to ever look through a viewfinder, managed to turn the young star into an adversary. By all accounts, Welles had only himself to blame. They appeared together in the 1958 romantic drama The Long, Hot Summer, where they played, respectively, a wealthy landowner and a hot-headed farmhand, needless to say. From the very beginning, they didn't see eye to eye. For Newman, Welles was an absolute scene stealer. He was pretty aloof and seemed uncomfortable around method people. The younger actor wrote in his memoir, The Extraordinary Life of an Ordinary Man, adding, Orson couldn't understand generosity on screen when an actor allowed another actor in his scene to justly get the best of the shots. Instead, the great auteur would undermine his fellow actors, stretching out vowels in his dialogue to hog more screen time. It seems he was quite a scene hog. The second director. Another icon who left Newman feeling dissatisfied was Alfred Hitchcock. To be fair to Newman, the master of suspense prided himself on downplaying the contributions of actors. He had his list of favorite stars, Cary Grant, Jimmy Stewart, and Grace Kelly, but he didn't appreciate those who brought their own craft concepts to the table. He was the creator, as far as he was concerned, and actors were simply meant to move where he told them and deliver their lines when it was their turn. Newman wasn't that kind of actor. He viewed directors as collaborators, not dictators, or at least as therapists who could help him uncover the psychological essence of characters. Their collaboration, Torn Curtain, was a perfect storm of mismatched talents, tight schedules, and a poor script, and neither seemed interested in salvaging it. Hitchcock didn't want Newman as the male lead in the 1966 spy thriller, nor did he want Mary Poppins, also known as Julie Andrews, as the female lead. Unfortunately for him, Hollywood had run out of Cary Grants and Grace Kellys, and Newman and Andrews were the hottest stars in town. Like it or not, he had to take them, and quickly, as Andrews' schedule was packed. The script was rushed and poorly written, leaving Newman even more unclear about his character than usual. So he did what he normally did. He asked the director questions. Unfortunately, Hitch didn't appreciate this kind of inquiry. Reflecting on these uncomfortable interactions years later, the filmmaker reportedly wrote, "I thought to myself, what's the matter with his character? It's just going to be Paul Newman anyway. Ouch." In retaliation, or simply due to disorientation, the actor delivered one of his stiffest performances. What could have been a movie lover's dream collaboration became one of the least inspired films in both Newman's and Hitchcock's careers, a perfect pairing that turned into a famously missed opportunity. The third director. Mark Robson, an experienced and Oscar-nominated director, is the third name on the list of filmmakers Paul Newman did not hold in high regard. They worked together on the 1960 film From the Terrace, a romantic drama based on John O'Hara's novel, with Newman starring opposite Joanne Woodward. Although the film achieved a certain commercial success and was well received by audiences, the production process was reportedly an unpleasant experience for Newman, largely due to Robson's working style. Mark Robson was known for his meticulousness and sometimes his tight control on set. However, according to Newman, Robson's meticulousness sometimes turned into a lack of flexibility and a working style that made him feel constrained. Newman, as a method actor trained at the Actors Studio, always sought the freedom to explore character depth and bring his own nuances to a role. He needed space to experiment, to find genuine, lively moments. But under Robson's direction, Newman felt forced to adhere to a rigid template, lacking creativity and inspiration. One of the main issues Newman had with Robson was a lack of trust in actors and their acting process. Instead of encouraging actors to delve deeper into a character's psychology, Robson seemed more focused on completing scenes quickly and precisely according to the script, sometimes overlooking emotional depth or potential contributions from the actors. For Newman, who valued thorough preparation and understanding of his characters, this style made him feel his role was diminished and lacked the necessary respect. Newman once shared that Robson tended to focus too much on technical and visual elements rather than on acting and character development. This created an imbalance on set, making Newman feel his work wasn't properly valued. The lack of connection and collaboration between the director and the actor led to certain tensions, though they didn't escalate into major public conflicts. Nevertheless, this experience left a deep and rather negative impression on Paul Newman's mind, making him remember Mark Robson as a director he wouldn't want to work with again. Although From the Terrace was a commercial success, for Paul Newman, it was a lesson in the importance of compatibility between director and actor. His experience with Robson solidified Newman's belief that a good director isn't just technically skilled, but must also be a leader capable of inspiring, understanding, and respecting the creative process of the entire crew, especially those who directly convey emotions on screen. Through Paul Newman's candid remarks, we can see that even a screen legend with such a brilliant career faced profound challenges and disagreements during filmmaking. The stories of these strained relationships also offer a deep insight into the nature of the film industry, a high-pressure environment where collaboration is key, but clashes over vision and working methods are often unavoidable. It reminds us that to create great works, it takes not only talent, but also mutual understanding and respect between the director and the actor. What do you think of Paul Newman's choices? Were you surprised to learn that such esteemed directors left a star like Newman feeling dissatisfied? Please share your thoughts in the comments below.